right. Welcome to the Lockdown Podcast. We are here to get into more Raw, more SmackDown, just the comings and goings, the rumors, our thoughts on things, our thoughts on storylines, things we'd like to see, things we probably will end up actually seeing. So we're beyond SummerSlam now. And now, Monday and Friday were basically the fallout from SummerSlam. Um, Definitely a lot to unpack per each show. We'll run down Raw here and then we'll kind of get into the stuff going on with Raw. And then we'll move over to SmackDown and obviously talk about the colossal situation that is. So, so Monday night Raw, you had Gunther come out, or Ludwig technically introduce. Obviously Ludwig is back, um, but there's obviously a lot of stuff with Ludwig and Sheamus in the future. So obviously Randy comes out and basically says, "Guess what? Now you've gotten the championship, but you wouldn't be it if you didn't have my very, very controversial moment at King of the Ring to win King of the Ring. So obviously we're coming full circle. So obviously we're gonna see Gunther versus Randy Orton take two, and so obviously we're gonna get a more definitive answer from that match as far as can Gunther beat Randy like legit? Can we actually get and obviously like there was a lot of controversy with that King of the Ring match, but obviously like you know we have wrestlers have one take. So like it could have been a situation where maybe he was supposed to kick out and I mean the ref was gonna see it and the match is gonna continue. There might have been more spots, who knows? But again, the referees is the final say. That's just how it goes. So so now you have Ludwig facing off with Sheamus again. Ludwig was out because of Sheamus, and so now we get this match, and you know I don't think there's very few matches that Sheamus wrestles in that are not bangers. Um, Obviously Sheamus beats Ludwig again, so I mean that kind of waters down that comeback. But um, so now we get basically Finn Balor talking to Damian Priest, and now we get a close angle and then an out angle. And so now we have what is basically Judgment Day 3.0. So Carlito, JD, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Liv Morgan are now essentially Judgment Day 3.0. There are no original members left. So like, what do you guys think, about this Judgment Day 3.0? Do you think there's anything to it? Do you really think that this is going to be long term, short term? Like, what are your guys' thoughts?
I think it's going to be short term because it's just it's just a watered down from the original Judgment Day, and I think it's just boring. Don't get me wrong, I like Liv Morgan, but she's just like a freaking. She just reminds me of a Barbie doll in a goth group, pretty much. But
Goth Barbie?
yeah, but but I am pretty happy with Damian Priest and Rhea doing their own thing because I saw that happening because those two stuck by each other from day one. They always had each other's back. I had a feeling they're going to be a team.
Yeah.
It's going to be one powerful team. I could say that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think those two have a lot of on-screen chemistry and how they complement each other's presentation, how they are singular in their focus, and there's definitely a really solid, enjoyable vibe with those two on screen. As far as how long Judgment Day last, let's give it roughly 9 months. I think the group will implode a third time, and then the band will disband, and we'll be all set. Like we all talked about earlier, we've seen a lot of people putting the history together of, karma, and what goes around comes around. So there was a lot of full circle moments with the group, um, and it goes to the long-term booking and storytelling that WWE is doing with its factions and its groups. So let's just see where this goes. I do see it ending at some point, but I don't think it'll be immediate. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
So-
would like to see what they're gonna do with it. They might do something good, might not, but I do like the whole Damian Priest and Rhea versus them. I think it's gonna be a very good storyline if they do it correctly.
Yeah, it's a giant if though.
Yeah. We all know WWE, they like to change a lot of shit around at the
Yeah.
last minute.
Well, I mean, that's just kind of how things go. I mean, if it, if sometimes it's injuries, sometimes it's any list of things. So now we have, CM Punk comes out and blah blah blah. List off all the crap and acts like it's just, oh well, it's just my night, blah blah blah, and like I really it that match at SummerSlams, and again I said this the last time, is I felt like it was a very intro match to CM Punk. We do obviously have, I believe it is confirmed at Bad Blood, Drew versus CM Punk inside of Hell in a Cell. So I feel like that's not even until October, so we have a hella bunch of long-term booking between these guys. So basically, you had the Seth and CM Punk altercation, kind of more verbal, not really physical. And then pops in Drew from the crowd, which, it thwarts the whole Seth Rollins and CM Punk stuff. CM Punk runs out. Now you got Seth that gets left alone in the ring. Here comes big Bronson Reed to give him not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 tsunamis. And I don't care how much kayfabe and how much, there's protection in these situations. You see a 300 something pound guy jump off the top rope and splash a guy who is much smaller. I don't care how you play it. That looks like it freaking hurt. Okay. Like,
Oh yeah.
and so, that basically has put Seth on the shelf. So now that basically to me kind of pushes Seth Rollins out of the CM Punk, or CM Punk and Drew McIntyre feud. Now it gives Bronson Reed an opportunity to work with Seth Rollins, even though he's essentially out for an undisclosed amount, and Bronson Reed was sued for an undisclosed amount, blah blah blah. Obviously, we know those things are, pretty weak.
Yeah, I seen what's his name. I seen what's his name Instagram post.
Yeah.
The
So
GM.
yeah. And so obviously I feel like that, because Bronson Reed basically did the exact same thing that Braun Breaker did.
Mhm.
You want to be seen, take out the biggest fish.
Yeah.
And that is honestly
Hey, that's the way to do it. You got to take out the
So,
biggest fish. Get your name
and
known.
so yeah, and I mean honestly, what a good setup. I think this is, Seth's gonna be off for a couple weeks. I think honestly he won't come back till I'll say after Bash in Berlin. But only time will tell. You get hit like that enough times, I don't even care.
I think they're writing him out because I think he's still not fully 100% healed from
Yeah.
his knee.
I mean, I could buy that. I mean, that's why he was a ref and he wasn't, in a match. So maybe this is kind of a cooling off period,
Probably.
even though he's still involved, but he's not fighting. So maybe this is kind of a cooling off, kind of chill storylines for Seth Rollins. So we don't know how long he'll honestly be out or written off TV for the time being. Which, I mean, you know what, man? The guy is a workhorse through and through. One of the hardest workers in the business, through legit injuries, like, the back pain, the back stuff and the knee stuff, like, that's not kayfabe, dude. He was legitimately hurt. Like, you can protect him in the match, but either way, he's still technically hurt. Same thing with Cody Rhodes when he tore his pec, dude. Like, you can't really, they didn't just pan him with Sharpie, okay? Like, that crap was legit. Like, he's got the scars to prove it. So, like,
Yeah, that was nasty.
so injuries happen. That's the business. It's not always a booking thing, or it's not, but it really does happen. So now we have again this continued running back and forth between the New Day and the Final Testament. Getting kind of stale because it's kind of the same thing over and over again. It's very Karrion Kross-ish, booking, and it just seems to be kind of a plateau at this point. But outside of the plateau comes the mountain of a man under the name Odyssey frickin' Jones, who, for a fun fact, if you honestly, none of you actually watch videos, the Odyssey Jones garnered more views than a bunch of AEW come-ups, right? So, in shocking turn of events, Odyssey Jones debuted on Raw last night, was amassed over 8 million views across WWE's social platforms, surpassing AEW debuts such as
Damn.
Okada at 4.5 million, Mercedes Moné at 6, and Will Ospreay at 4. So that is, I feel like, the biggest possible push you can give to someone that's going to be doing something big. He got a lot of good positive, from Big E, which, and I feel like, Odyssey Jones, I feel like fits the bill in regards to New Day. Like, what are your guys' thoughts as far as, like, Odyssey Jones basically stepping into a Big E-ish role for the New Day?
Hey, I'm all for it because he fits Big E perfectly, but he's a little bit bigger, but not much built, but he could bring a powerhouse to that team, and he'll make that team something to be known for.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of him. I like him.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a very interesting story with Odyssey Jones, but it's got to be something where it doesn't destroy from what New Day has been throughout its history, but it adds to it and elevates it. So it can be an emotionally good story. It could be Big E's way to send him off into in-ring retirement. And it can also be a way to rebuild what the New Day is, known for, and build upon that rather. Let's just hope that they don't drop the ball, and let's hope that Odyssey Jones can keep up in the ring. He's not injury prone, or he gets stale really quickly. So let's just temper our excitement with this, but also let's hope for the best.
Let's not fumble this one, WWE.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
And so, okay, so me and Frederick were talking about this prior to being on, before you got here. And so obviously we feel like the Xavier Woods thing is just a play, and Xavier Woods will eventually be fine with this whole thing. But as the current story seems, it seems like Xavier Woods is not as excited. He did not know that Odyssey Jones was going to be there, so he was not in the know. And I feel like that's, for him, that's a little bit of, disrespect in between those two, because they've been together for so long. They've done everything, they've shared everything, and to basically not be in the know, um, there's a little bit of rubbing the wrong way. I don't know if, I'm assuming this would be solved in the next, couple weeks. Maybe Xavier gets something going on, gets beat up, Kofi's out of the ring, and here comes Odyssey Jones to save him. Then they're fine. I feel like that we see that, so many times in WWE where all of a sudden, they're like unsure about someone, but then he, all of a sudden he comes in and saves the day. I mean, if you look back, even like Matt Riddle, Randy Orton, RK Bro, I mean, how much stuff did Riddle have to go through before Randy was accepting, and basically giving the nod to Team RK Bro? So, we'll see how the next, week, 2 weeks play out. I feel like it's eventually going to level off, and we're going to have, a definitely a match in whether it's next week or in the weeks prior, or maybe we kick this out to Bash in Berlin. But it's definitely going to be Final Testament, Akar and Razor, and and Karrion Kross versus the New Day with Odyssey Jones. That match is going to happen, sooner rather than later. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it doesn't have enough build to be a PLE match, but we'll see. So now we have an absolute pissed off Damian Priest, which JD was pretty much got no offense. You know, and man, I mean,
He got his ass kicked like a rag doll. There was nothing.
And
Yeah.
and after all is said and done, whatever, Judgment Day 3.0 comes out and tries, but at the end of it all, you have 4-on-2, and guess what? The two are standing. So I honestly think that it is great that Rhea and Damian basically had that moment. And this is the powerhouse of the Judgment Day. So now you're not really left with much, to be honest. Like, you think of the two biggest people in Judgment Day, that's Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. The rest of you guys, I'm sorry, man. You guys are going to get your ass kicked one by one, and it's not going to be pretty. Now, there's been ramblings of a Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan and Dominic. I would assumably would happen at Bash in Berlin. I feel like, we get to get a couple weeks of build, in anticipation for this match. It's gonna happen, and Rhea and Damian are gonna win. I have a 5% doubt, because I'm sorry, Damian and Rhea are the Terror Twins. They are the muscle. They are Judgment Day is really just a bunch of midgets without Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. I'm sorry.
Damian Priest is gonna knock that porno mustache right off Dominic's
I mean,
face.
if you really think about it, look how small. Someone look up for me the height of JD McDonough, Dominic Mysterio, and Finn Balor.
Right,
I guarantee you, none of them are over 5'8". Maybe 10.
I want to say Dominic is probably the tallest out of all of them. And
Dominic is the same height as me. He's 6'2".
Yeah.
He does not look 6'2".
No.
Yeah,
Not
that's
one
true.
bit. He does not look 6'2". I know. He looks like 5'8". But honestly, either way, okay, cool, you're 6'2". You don't wrestle like a 6'2" guy. You wrestle like a 5'9". Okay? Your
Well.
dad has more intensity in his wrestling matches than you do, and he's 6 inches, probably a foot shorter than you. So, yeah, no, I'm so excited for the implosion, because really Judgment Day 3.0 is gonna get their asses kicked, hardcore. Liv's not gonna last with that title any longer than 3 months.
Okay, JD, his height is he's 5'10".
He does not look 5'10".
Yeah. Finn Balor, he is where is it? Come on. He's 5'11".
I don't buy it. It looks short as hell. Like, so how is
Carly-
Finn
Carly-
Balor taller than me?
Probably because
Carlito,
he's surrounded by giants.
Carlito
Yeah,
is Carlito's 5'10".
He looks like 6 foot. He looks 6 foot. Dominic looks 5'11".
Dominic, let me see. Yeah, he's 6'1". I'm taller than him.
I don't buy it. They look, I mean, maybe like you said, they're surrounded by Damian Priest is easily 6'4", 6'5".
Damian Priest, 6'5".
Yeah.
Rhea is 5'7".
She looks 5'10".
She's also
Like,
probably wearing
these numbers are
platforms.
fixed. Is this on Wikipedia? Someone's
Oh
fudging the
no,
numbers.
no, it's on Google.
JD McDumma is
And
not
then
that tall.
Liv Morgan is 5'3".
God bless. Yeah, she looks 5'3". A delicious 5'3".
She's the only one that actually looks normal.
Exactly. See, and that's the kickers. I'm sorry. Like, is it the camera angles? Could JD look short as hell? Okay,
Yeah, and I think that they're also like
it's fudging the
everyone
numbers.
is just like
I'm gonna go on Wikipedia and say JD McDonough is 6'4".
taller than them.
You know how you can edit Wikipedia? That's what's gonna happen. Next
Oh,
time you get on
God.
Wikipedia, it's gonna say JD McDonough is 6'4". Damian Priest is 5'9".
I went to Wikipedia, and both Google and Wikipedia matches the same height for JD.
Oh man,
All
they're
right.
paying off Google. This is all of the conspiracy, man. Anyways, okay, so let's get back to the task at hand here.
Yeah, I was gonna say Finn Balor is actually on here, and then on Wikipedia it was like I think 5'10", and on here he's 5'11".
He's 5'10" and a
On
half. They were just
on
going up or
Google.
down. They
Let's
just,
say, I
maybe
know Damian's taller than me because I stand like
just
close to
Finn.
him.
I mean, maybe it's because Finn's always doing this.
He's always
I
like
don't know.
staying straight up like
Yeah, he has weird ribs, but like, anyways, I digress. We'll move away from the height of the mini Judgment Day, but like, so we get to see the actual first actual match with the Wyatt Six versus Chad Gable and the Creed Brothers, also known as American Made. I don't know if that's the shtick they're running with, but either way, Wyatt Six showed out. So many different homages to Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt. You know, Bo
Did you
Dallas
see-
was emotional after the match. There was just so much to this match that the average person wouldn't see. I thought it was honestly, I mean, it was a pretty one-sided match, honestly. I don't think this was 25% Chad Gable and Creed and 75% Wyatt Six. You know, the only kicker of this whole thing is that it's what I've said a million times is what now? You know, and so, you know, we have these little snippets of how, you know, they're you know, the Wyatt Six are basically purists. They're basically like anybody who's wronged their family, stuff like that. There's been talk like, okay, well, you know, Jey Uso's done some stuff, Jimmy Uso's done some stuff, you know, and a couple other wrestlers that have kind of, you know, disrespected family, I guess. So I don't know how long the Wyatt Six, Chad Gable, Creed Brothers thing goes. I don't know, you know, who's next. You know, what's the storyline we're gonna go into next with the Wyatt Six? Because I feel like, you know, because they're only on Raw, I feel like that gives them a lot of play because, you know, there's plenty of situations on Raw that could basically lead them to doing something to them. Because obviously the Chad Gable stuff was a slow burn, and then as soon as we got the actual match on Monday Night Raw, like it was like boom, there it all is right there, you know. And it was a lot of storytelling. within just a 25-minute match. So I thought it was a very good homage to, you know, the whole Bray Wyatt Luke Harper thing, and I thought it was very well done. So
Yeah, I like what Eric Redbeard did for Brody Lee.
yeah.
He's like, yeah. And then he did that whole flip over the ropes.
Yeah.
That was nice. I like that.
He's a big dude to like be rolling up the rope like that. Like
But he
I
executed it well.
yeah.
Well,
I
want
thought it was
I want to see how tall he is.
he's gotta be like at least 6'9", 6'10". His beard, it's he's a big dude. Tim, you can be the information seeker.
Thanks, Tim.
Tim is now Info Tim.
He is 6'8".
That's it?
Yeah. 6'8", 315 pounds, what it says on Google.
Freaking Google. It's being hacked, man. It's
let me see what Wikipedia has to say it.
7'4".
Nope, they actually got it correct. 6'8", 315 pounds.
Next time I go there, I'm gonna be like, hey, how tall are you, bro? I'm gonna bring a measuring tape to Raw.
I want to see how tall Luke was.
Dude, so if when Raw comes, then we'll probably see the Wyatt 6.
Oh yeah.
Frederick, are you down to go to Raw? Like if we all just buy
6'5".
tickets and all three of us go?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I might pre-order mine early.
Yeah,
have they gone on sale yet or no?
Not yet. They haven't have a release date yet. They might release it in September or maybe October. Because it's not to November 11th.
I mean, come on, Tim. What's happened the last couple times? We got floor seats. We got like the worst floor seats.
I know, but I'm just saying. They usually they go on pre-sale on like a Wednesday. And lately when I went by myself, I always got pre-seats like on the day of they release on a Wednesday. I usually got front row seats.
I guess
I usually got good
wait
deals.
mine out. I'm gonna wait mine out because last time they were here, we could have waited and paid like $20 less a ticket to have entrance ramp seats. So
I don't know. All know when I start working.
You do you, Tim, and then we'll make sure you do what you did to me last time and you took a picture of me from far away. No, dude, it was funny because all of a sudden, like, we both went to Raw. Him and his girlfriend went to Raw, and I went to Raw, and I got my seat. And then all of a sudden, I get this picture sent to me. I'm like, "What the heck is Tim doing?" And I get this picture, and he like zoomed in on me all the way, and I'm like, "What the f are you doing?"
He was like this with his phone in his hand.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Photos to be released at a later date.
No, when I start working again, I'm definitely gonna order the new world title.
Well, Parkways is always needing ladies' nights.
There we go.
You live down the street. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
But they don't do it for dollars.
They don't have guys there anymore.
Well,
they got rid of that like a few years ago.
Well, say you identify as a female. Anyways, I digress.
Okay, I'll just tuck my legs. I'll pull what's his name from Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna say Ace Ventura, but
he's sitting there with a jacket in my hand.
Frederick's literally like, I'm looking at him. And he's just like, I don't even know what to say.
Like, he's like, I don't know what to say to this.
I got nothing.
I'm not gonna say nothing.
If I just say nothing, I'm not involved.
I just know that there could be some editing, but but more importantly, I am looking at tickets for Raw.
Do I have the release date for when they're supposed to go on sale?
They're already on sale from what I can see.
Oh.
Yeah, they start off at $56. Yeah. I'm about to just go max out and just spend like $140 for myself.
Yeah, so
one ticket.
Yeah, the performance area seats, it looks like they're all sold out. I don't know why we're talking about this right now. But
I know.
Yeah.
This is just freaking rabbit trails, man. I tell you.
yeah,
And I won't even
Goodness.
edit that. I feel like they need to know that we're real people.
Yes.
We're
Real
not
people
robots.
with with ADHD.
This is the lockdown, the lock that squirrel down
Yeah.
podcast. Oh man, see,
Oh,
this
goodness.
is why I love you guys. You guys,
Yep.
this is my best. This is the best part of my week, and it's the start of the week. So it's always a good start to my week to hang out with you guys. So down to SmackDown. So we have Cody Rhodes comes out, blah blah blah, does what he always does. What do you want to talk about? I feel like that shtick is so annoying after a while because we already know what we want to talk about. But I digress. That's the gimmick. That's the shtick. All the more power to you to say the same lines every week. But so we basically get this inadvertent, Cody Rhodes basically saying, "Hey, Kevin Owens deserves a title match." Kevin Owens is very receptive. He's kind of like, I don't really. There's a lot of guys in the back, and obviously the match gets made official. So it is Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens at Bash in Berlin. Again, this is 3
Cody
weeks
Rhodes.
away.
Cody Rhodes. You said
Cody-
Seth Rollins.
Yeah, see, it's that's in my brain. So Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens for the undisputed title at Bash in Berlin. So I was saying this beforehand that I feel like we have 3 weeks. Maybe by some weird stretch, we get a Kevin Owens heel turn. Don't who knows? We have 3 weeks. Just in the sense of we have a face versus a face, which is kind of a rare occasion, essentially. But we'll see. Maybe it'll just be a good, clean match, no bloodline involvement. Maybe a Roman Reigns involvement, maybe. Who knows? We got 3 weeks, and so we'll kind of play it as it goes. So we have Street Profits versus A-Town Down Under, which I feel like Street Profits are a great tag team. I think they've showed the continuity for, well over 4, 5, 6 years, and I think they're just due for something. And so they obviously win the number 1 contenders match. Now on SmackDown, it kind of sucks because I feel like the Bloodline holding gold seems like something that's going to be held on for a while. Now I could be wrong. Maybe we're just back to this era of quick turnarounds and titles exchanging. I don't know. It is the Paul Levesque era, so we don't know. Because again, we used to have. That's why people had titles for so many times, is because they would have them for 4 to 5 months, gone. 6 months later, win another title, and so it seems to be now is more about how long you'd hold it versus how many times you hold it. So I don't see. I mean, do you guys think the Bloodline honestly is going to lose to Street Profits? I mean, doesn't seem plausible.
I was gonna say, is the 2 brothers now have to have the titles because the other one's out hurt?
Yeah, well, because Tamatanga or Tangaloa, whatever one that's the freaking pirate now.
Well, I'm really confused. Why does he have an eye patch? Did I miss something?
He got poked in the eye or something. I don't know, and I think I'm not sure if it's kayfabe or it's legit, but I don't know. He just looks like a Samoan pirate, but but either way, so yeah, because Jacob Fatu is supposedly out with a leg injury, which most everybody online is like, yeah, not really. He's a fantastic actor. He deserves an Emmy, but so I don't know. I don't think.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't think he's out.
If one's hurt, who knows? We'll again. I guess we'll see Friday how things play out. It does kind of suck though, because it's like, we have to wait a week because obviously since we're very brand specific as far as what goes on nowadays, so now we just have to wait, 5 days before we can figure out, the culmination of what happened. How the tag team titles are going to go. So beyond that, it's kind of a toss up. But so we have Jade Cargill versus Alba Fire. Obviously wins. Jade wins the match. Versus Alba Fire, one half of the tag team champions. So after the match, we get this Blair Davenport spot where now she's getting involved. Naomi, who honestly, with her hair poofed out, kind of looks like the lady from Austin Powers. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, the one
Yep.
from
Foxy
Willpower?
Cleopatra. I'm a
Yeah,
whole
dude.
other woman. Like, oh yeah, the fro is just throwing me. But so it looks like we're obviously gonna, again, another basically an easy spot to put a 3-on-3 next week on SmackDown with Naomi and Jade and Bianca, which is kind of how the 3 started anyways. Obviously the third is a different person this time now with Blair Davenport joining, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. I honestly really don't think there's a whole lot there. I think, like we've said before, is that when Jade and Bianca lost, it was basically a ply for where the match was in the country. It was that we can give up this title because it seems like honestly the women's tag team titles just are they're very like below mid card or even just kind of mid card. They're not really like, it's not prestigious. And I think that again, we've all said this 1,000 times, but like they need secondary titles that, an IC title, a Women's United States Championship title. Like, how do you give a secondary women's championship on NXT, the developmental show, but yet you don't do that to the main roster? And I think it's, maybe it was a trial and error, I guess. But there has to be a women's IC and there has to be a women's United States champion. Like, I feel like that just needs to happen to amplify the talent that we have, versus AEW that just has champions from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, M, O, N, M, they're oversaturated with titles. But I feel like, honestly, in the era that we're in with WWE, there has to be those secondary titles. But, what do you guys honestly think as far as, there being an IC and a United States Women's Champion?
I
agree.
There really needs to be just a stronger push for women's wrestling in order to justify those additional championships. Right now, I think it makes sense to have a women's world championship and a women's WWE championship. All right. But to add 2 more titles to those, I think
The shows will be title heavy.
yeah, and I don't think that it won't do women's wrestling for WWE any favors by having those extra championships. It's just, at that particular point, like
No.
promotions that have a lot of championships, it's a participation trophy as opposed to having it really means like this is who's next on our like push list.
So what about if they pushed Kalani Jordan, who's the current women's North American champion, to start showing up on other brands?
I wouldn't mind that.
I
Maybe
would enjoy
cross branding that title. And
I think
let's
so.
say, it could be on Raw, but it could all, like basically be a championship that can be defended anywhere on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. That
Mhm.
way you can slowly introduce it without oversaturating it.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
could, yeah, I can get behind that.
because I
Definitely.
mean they
Same
combined
here.
I mean the one thing is like I hate that they combine the NXT women's tag titles and the main roster tag teams. I
Yeah,
think
that
that's
was
honestly the kind of the killer of women's wrestling is when they did that. Because like,
yeah.
NXT kind of they have a 2-hour show no different than SmackDown. So like they can pack in as much as SmackDown, essentially. Like they have more matches than they do segments. So like I honestly think that they should have left those there. They should have let, you know, those tag teams develop down there and like get the grasp of holding championships
They
and
don't.
being more involved. But as soon as you combine them, you just took that away from them. So now the only thing left in NXT is essentially the women's championship and then now the women's North American championship.
They don't have the
So
tag
now you
titles.
only have two.
They don't have the tag titles on
No,
NXT
because
anymore.
they combine those when I'm not sure how far back it was.
It was when it was Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey versus the two women that are the
Yeah.
tag team champions now.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I just think that when NXT essentially only has 1, 2 tag, and that's really it. So it's like, I feel like they should have left those there. I feel like that, but that just takes away from tag team wrestling meaning something in NXT now. So
Yeah, I think if anything, I think NXT women's tag titles could come back. I think an investment, a definite investment with getting the women's program, women's wrestling programs in the forefront uh, could really help. Like 15 minutes out of a 2-hour program, come on, let the women breathe. Give it to them. You know, I think it works. I think it works. Even 20 minutes, um, it works. You know what? And maybe that could help Raw. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I think
I
maybe,
think
yeah,
my opinion, they should bring back like they did in the past. Like I don't remember how many years ago it was, where they had just straight all women pay per view.
Yeah, it was the
yeah. That one time they did,
Evolution
yeah,
pay-per-view.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think they need to redo that and bring that back again. Just
Well, and I
like
thought
have it
they were
like
gonna.
once a year.
I thought that was gonna be at least a mainstay.
Yeah.
Like you pushed it, and then you just dropped it just the same, and it's
Yeah,
like
but that was all a Vince call. Like the turnout wasn't well. I think it is something that could be done, and they could do it. They could even do it like what they're doing with TNA or like with the Mae Young Classic. I,
yeah,
you know,
there's so many avenues.
yeah, there are, and there
Because I
are.
think a lot of the women definitely need a lot more push than just the men do. Women are really great in the ring, and there's a lot of good talent.
It's
They
and
just
like I said,
not showing
even
it.
if it was just a once a year,
Yeah.
like let them shine for a night. Just
Yeah.
give them something
It
for a
can
night.
definitely just, it can be a really great celebration of women's wrestling, the history of women's wrestling. They could,
Yeah.
they can even like do early announcements, for, WWE Hall of Fame. Wouldn't have been, it would be great to like celebrate, you know, a couple of retiring women's wrestlers, and
Like bring some
it's
from TNA into it.
yeah, it's like, you know what?
They got great talent over there too.
Yeah, there could be a push, and it can be an enjoyable night.
Mhm.
You know,
And
and
maybe
it
it's
can
something
also
in the
be,
works.
yeah,
I mean, it
yeah,
could be in the works
maybe,
for all intents and
yeah,
purposes.
yeah. But
Obviously we don't know, but I
We
mean,
can always,
I
hey,
would,
somebody can always tweet out Triple H and say something.
yeah, I would rather. I think I would rather see that before I saw adding more championship titles to
I
the
mean,
women's division. However, I don't think it should be taken off the table, or we shouldn't do it at all. If I
mean,
had a
maybe
choice, I would say give them more championships if I had to choose, because then we can see those belts
well,
as
and
opposed to a one-off event.
maybe at that pay-per-view, that was the launch. Let's say they had a 20-woman over-the-top battle royal, right? Like they've done in the past, where like, okay, the last 2 people are the ones that fight, or the last 4 are the ones that fight for, because that's what they essentially did at, I believe they did for the NXT champion, the Women's North American Championship. They basically
That's what they did.
it was a battle royal. Why can't they do that again?
Yeah, it
You
was a
know,
battle royal.
like
No, it was for the North American Championship for the women's was I don't remember how many females there was. It was a ladder match.
was a ladder match. Okay, so I mean, but I know they've done those in the past where they've done, okay, like the last 3 will actually fight, the last 4, last 2, whatever. And because then you could then you could like bring, let's say, 25, 30 different wrestlers to like all be involved in this evolution to, let's say, have the first women's, IC title. Maybe just do one title. Maybe one title that goes between brands, just like the Women's North American.
Mhm.
Maybe something of that nature, because that's what they do with the tag team titles. They can go on either show. They're technically branded to one show, but they can go on any show. Whether it's NXT, SmackDown, or Raw. So okay, so we'll get back to Schmacky down here. So Santos Escobar and Andrade, which they fight for the U.S. title's #1 contender. Now, am I the only one that has watched Andrade literally just get blacklisted? He's there, but he's just taking L's. It's insulting.
I mean,
Yeah, he's been wrestling more on that speed, whatever it's called.
Yeah, which is insulting to his talent.
It is.
I mean,
And now they're doing a women's speed, which, like that is the most lackluster. The speed thing is no different than a stupid the freaking other belt, the 24/7.
yeah,
Like, it's just
24/7
dumb.
or the
It's just stupid.
European,
It's
not European.
yeah. You know what? I don't think speed is the problem. I think the problem is that speed is on a social media platform as opposed to WWE programming.
and they're not allowed to talk about it on
Yeah,
on Raw or
it's
SmackDown.
it's streamed on
X.
X.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a waste. It's just a waste. I don't care. I think that is the stupidest gimmick as of recent. That is
You know-
worse than the 24/7 championship title.
Yeah,
Worse.
I would agree.
You have 3, what is it, like 3 minutes, a 3-minute match. Wow. I'm so glad. I want to see R-Truth win his 60th and 24/7 championship. Like, I think it's a waste. But yeah, they continue to give Andrade L's, and I think it's stupid. Maybe they're waiting for
Well,
Charlotte to get back, and maybe they're
yeah.
gonna power couple it out.
You know,
But
you know what? Everyone gets their L's in WWE, and it's
he
not
just got back.
But look at how he left.
He
Yeah.
did kind of leave on a little bit of some
I
word
mean,
bad terms.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
then again, the match obviously had, Carmelo Hayes involvement. So I mean, it wasn't like a normal just straight L. I think it's this continued build with Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. And honestly, I'm a Carmelo Hayes guy. He's the future. Like it or lump it. He has the charisma, the talent, the mic skills. And and again, like I said, in 15 years, we're going to be talking about him like we're talking about Seth Rollins. Like, I guarantee it. Because he's that good. and I think he's one of the very few, I would say, in the last 5 years that's come up from NXT. Like obviously, okay, yeah, Braun Breaker's recently, okay, yeah, but Braun Breaker's one character. Like Carmelo Hayes is kind of multifaceted. He can talk on the mic. He
Mhm.
can, basically put his nose on people's business. He can get cocky and arrogant with the main roster. I mean, and I think that, he's multifaceted. So I honestly, like I said, I bought a Carmelo Hayes shirt, man. Mello is money, dude. So, so we
He's a
get,
good
and now,
wrestler.
so now we're on this whole number one contenders, thing with, so DIY defeats Pretty Deadly to progress in the WWE Tag Team number one contenders tournament, which I honestly think again is just kind of dumb, but what do I know? I just watch it,
Like the rest
and
of them.
it's again they're just putting the same people in there like they've always done, and it's so now we come to the end of the show, and this is the icing on the cake, the cream of the crop. So you have Solo again. Solo came out earlier and blabbing and blah blah blah, and obviously Roman Reigns is there. So we get this again, Solo talking all this whatever, schmuck about Roman and everything else, and acknowledge me, and I'm like, you've done nothing to me to acknowledge you. Like, I don't understand like how they put him in this role. He hasn't accomplished anything for me to acknowledge anything. And that is the biggest thing. If Solo beat Cody Rhodes and then he was like, acknowledge me, I could buy that.
Right.
But to have done nothing for me to acknowledge you is an insult. And obviously that's a stab at Roman Reigns. Like, we all know that. That's the proverbial let's poke at the bear, which I'm sorry, but poke at the bear and the bear gonna beat you with a chair. So, I thought this really delayed, segment with Roman Reigns, finally coming out and basically beating the piss out of the bloodline by himself. Like, I'm all for it, dude.
I
I
like
think
his new
honestly,
music.
it's a little like it's the same energy, but like, I don't know. I kind of, because it's like he's not champion right now, so like he doesn't need that slow walkout build. So I feel like them transitioning to a little more upbeat, I think does make sense. So, but so
Hey,
we'll honestly,
LA Knight's new music is pretty dope too.
I mean, I'm an LA Knight guy too, so yeah,
I love his music.
I do. I just,
He got the whole Hulk Hogan colors kind of going.
and I think honestly, LA Knight, he's gotten approval. Okay, like I really think the things that he's doing, he's gotten the approval of the right people, to do what he does, right? It's no different than when Kevin Owens got the nod from Stone Cold to use the stunner, right? And I
Mhm.
think that's the progression of wrestling, is that like sometimes those nostalgic moves still hit. And okay, the original guy can't do it, but hey, let's give the nod to someone else, right? I mean, think of the 1D, no different than the 3D, right? And so
Yep.
you're seeing this mesh of old moves from, let's call it 90s, early 2000s attitude era stuff, right? And now you're seeing them implemented now, and it just makes you, it kind of makes you go back a little bit, right? Like it's like that's that nostalgic move, because really the 3D honestly was one of the better combo finishers from anybody, you know? And so I think to have that, kind of come back full circle, I love it. I'm all for it. So, because essentially
All right.
if you really want to go down the pipe dream, an RKO is a diamond cutter, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
So,
Pretty
and
much.
so it's the same thing with the Twist of Fate. The Twist of Fate is just a modified diamond cutter. So, I think it's fun.
All right.
Yep.
This is a little bit of another off topic, whatever.
All right.
The
was the old
rumor is that
podcast.
the rumor is that they have been thinking about bringing back the WWF because the company that sued WWE at the time was a World Wrestling something animal
It was
company, whatever.
World
But that
Wildlife
company,
Foundation.
yeah, now they went bankrupt. They're no more. That company's no more anymore. They don't have the name anymore. Something happened. They had a lawsuit. What I found out about, and now Triple H has been thinking about bringing back WWF.
They've debunked
I
that.
I
Though.
I would be okay with it
I mean,
because I grew up
what
with
you gonna do,
WWF.
brother, when WWE runs over the wildlife? So I don't know. I I honestly don't really think it's gonna happen. I think that they've built up too much of an entertainment business that it is now when they go to Netflix, I think there's gonna be nods to WWF in the sort of an Attitude Era mentality.
Mm,
It's still gonna be WWE. I think
Because
they're
I know
just
when
gonna
they go to Netflix, SmackDown is no longer going to be a 2-hour show. It's going to be a 3-hour show. It's going to be like as the same as with Raw
yeah.
because that's what they said they're going to do.
But isn't Netflix only taking Raw though? Like who's taking SmackDown?
USA.
Is it still USA then?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
USA is
kind of
taking it.
weird. Like that's just weird because now you have Raw as is a little bit edgier, and then you have SmackDown still being SmackDown. So I like
But
if
I
they're
mean,
gonna
it's still a 3-hour show. People can get used to it. So from 8 to 11, on USA, I don't. It's an extra hour of creative and writing, and you know,
well, no, I'm just saying from the type like the edgier content. I'm saying like not the fact that it's we have an extra hour and that's cool. I'm all for it. I'm saying like in the sense of like you're gonna kind of have Raw be kind of Attitude Era, and then you're gonna have SmackDown still kind of running the same course, is what I'm saying. It's
yeah,
because
I don't mind that because a lot of people are not going to join Raw uh from USA to Netflix. I don't think a lot of people are going to make that conversion. Um, so having SmackDown still be an athletic, more athletic minded program on basic cable, I think it's going to be fine. It's just that extra hour. How are they going to write for that extra hour? What does that look like as opposed to um
I
not?
mean,
Will we get out of that extra hour? Will we get a little bit more wrestling or we will get more story? I mean, I would rather have more wrestling in that extra hour, more actual in ring
right.
action as opposed to like, oh,
Do you
no,
think
it's yeah.
that the draft will affect who goes where based on the content that they're providing?
I think
I think so.
SmackDown is
Because if you're
probably
gonna
going to
have more
want
edgier
their
things, you're
top
gonna want
athletes there.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you're gonna go edgier, I think, SmackDown can be more, like you said, more artistry, more athleticism, not so much pushing the boundaries of content. And I
Right.
think, you know, Raw is gonna be full of like Roman Reigns, bloodline stuff, LA Knight, AJ Styles, Braun Strowman, like, they're gonna I feel like they're gonna balance those rosters to the point where it's like, what you're getting on Raw because it's a little bit more high end, and then you have SmackDown that's gonna be more tame, more athletic,
Yeah.
more,
One is
I would
definitely going to be their PG show, and one may definitely go to TV 14 or whatever have you. So I don't think the
I don't think
Netflix.
they're not gonna push too far in the boundaries.
Yeah,
It's
I
gonna
don't.
be a slow run
I
into it.
I think I
Yeah,
think they're more where if they go to Netflix. I think they're gonna do more like their cut edge, maybe a little bit after 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
where a lot of the kids are more in bed by then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's pretty
I mean,
much how it was
here's
in the Attitude Era. Is right when they hit
Yeah.
10 o'clock. That's when they were doing
went off the kilter.
yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's possible. I think that's plausible. I think, you know, it's going to be time frame based, and I guess that does make a lot of sense as far as because the Attitude Era, yeah, the same thing. So you know, they're gonna like let that extra hour of boundary just kind of like not be ridiculous. I don't think we're gonna go full blown Attitude Era. I don't think we're gonna have bikini matches. I don't think they're going that far down the
Right.
pipeline of content. I think, but it's just gonna be a little bit edgier. Like it's gonna be
Yeah.
a little more gritty content. But it's not. We're not getting like bikini matches, bra and panties matches. We're not like we're not.
I
we're-
w-
I don't think we're
I
gonna go
would
back down
say
that way.
I would say it's going to be more if I had to guess, more Lucha Underground style, and how dark at times those matches were, like glass thumbtack match, or they'll show a little bit more blood. There'd be more adult innuendos. Yeah, but I don't necessarily see them changing the format drastically, but definitely be allowing the performers to be a little bit more expressive on Netflix, as they would not be able to be on SmackDown in 2025. So
Well, and
yeah,
it's weird too that it's kind of like in January. Like it would kind of make sense to be like after the draft or something, or like after WrestleMania. Like it's weird that it's just all of a sudden, just in January, all of a sudden we're just gonna have a different format. And it's I feel like that's a weird transition, just to being like,
I
okay, the
wouldn't.
beginning of the year is all of a sudden
I
just
I
Yeah,
think that because I think about January for Netflix, I think what I read is when Netflix is supposed to raise their prices to $20 to pay. You have to pay $20 if you don't want commercials or ads in any of your movies or TV shows that you're watching. Because I got the notification on my Netflix account that it's supposed to go up to $20 in January.
I think my Netflix already is $20.
Not me. I'm only paying 15.
I think Netflix, honestly is gone up. Because I'm pretty certain.
Because I know it used to be $10. Then it went
Yeah,
up to 11.
my Netflix is already $20, and I think that's probably because mine is a different parameters than yours. But yours might be like one,
I'll have
and
to
mine's
look.
probably more. But what I think is stupid, honestly, while we're on the topic of Netflix, now you can't even share Netflix with like family and friends. What I think it's
I
stupid.
mean,
I share. I share.
Every
I-
other platform is legitimately like, yep, you pay for these accounts, you get them, right? Why does it matter if people are in my house or not in my house? Like,
I share mine with my parents because I think they still can get on it. I think it's because we live so close and they can't really tell.
if you're on the same life, like it's yeah, they base it off of like the same like Wi-Fi or like whatever. But
Because I know
that's a topic for a different day.
I know Hulu is supposed to be going there soon.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know
I mean,
when.
like, I freaking pay so much for streaming platforms. It's stupid. So I don't even really care, though. Honestly, it's what it is. But you know, but anyways, back to the task at hand. Honestly, like, there's a lot more we're gonna unpack next week from what happens this week. It's like I said, when we talked about this beforehand, me and Frederick, is that like we already have the two marquee matches for Bash and Berlin, and we got 3 weeks still. And I feel like this might be the norm. I feel like this might start happening where like they predict at least like a couple of the matches, maybe the two marquee matches ahead of time, and they really really let these stories fester and build and really continue to intensify the match itself. Like not even the match itself, but the story going into the match. And so I honestly love that we already have, main event, co-main event, probably, or the first match, who knows, but we'll see. we got 3 weeks to bash in Berlin. We will continue to dive in, to more stories, more rumors, more thoughts, but we'll put a proverbial pin. And so, we'll definitely see you guys next week with more news, rumors, nonsense, thoughts, pipe dreams. So I hope you guys all have a good week. This is the Lockdown Podcast. Peace.